name is Hallie. I'm with Show Up Long Island, and we're joining Engage Long Island and a couple of other groups at this wonderful day. Just want to thank you for coming out on your Saturday and in this heat to show that you care about the rights of women and girls. So, does anyone else feel like we're living through a dystopian novel these days?
Yes!
I have 3 daughters. I knew their generation would have battles to fight, as all those who have come before them have, but I thought they'd be about climate, gun violence prevention, economic justice. I didn't really foresee that we'd be dragged back decades by the Republican Party, and that my children would have to stand up in addition to those things, also to fight for rights that women won 50 years ago. But here we are. I know some people in New York feel safe. We live in a blue state. They feel insulated from all the terrible stories we hear from other states about women being denied life-saving medical care, about doctors afraid to fulfill their oaths because they could be arrested, about rape and incest victims being forced to carry babies to term. But we are not safe. History shows time and again when people come for one right, when they attack our freedom, they come for more. And Trump has said he would sign a national abortion ban. That's all we need to know. The only way to protect our daughters, sisters, nieces, friends, communities is to convince everyone we know to get out the vote for Democrats this November. Because Republicans are the reason we lost Roe, and only Democrats with our help can get back the right of women to have freedom over their own bodies and the fundamental right to reproductive health care.
Vote for Dems! 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 Vote for Dems!
The Trump years taught us 2 important things. First, no matter how bigoted and cruel we think Trump and the Republicans can be, they will surprise us with the depths that they will sink to, the norms they'll obliterate, and the rights they will trample in their endless pursuit of power. Yep. But second, that we have power of our own. Trump and the GOP tried 35 times to take away our affordable health care and throw millions of Americans off of their health care. But ordinary people like us showing up at town halls, calling their congresspeople, staging rallies, along with elected Democrats, stopped that from happening all 35 times. We need that same tireless energy now, because Trump and Republicans would rather let women die or suffer than make their own decisions about their bodies. Trump and Republicans are already laying out plans for Project 2025, which would limit birth control, access, undermine trans and queer rights, and reverse all the progress we've fought so hard to build. We can't let Trump confuse our fellow citizens. In 2020, Trump campaigned on the promise he would end Roe. He proudly congratulates himself for putting the justices on the court that did it, and his assertion that we should leave it to the states means the rights of women and girls depends on their zip code, and that's both un-American and inhuman. Finally, the way to protect our communities, our families, and our democracy is to stop Trump, the 34 times convicted felon, from ever stepping foot in the White House again. And to elect Democrats up and down the ballot and give President Biden a Democratic Senate and House so we can pass legislation to make abortion safe and legal again in all 50 states, because women's rights are human rights.
Get out the vote! 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 Get out the vote!
Hi all, I'm Stephanie Visconti from Engage Long Island. I'm also here with Rachel. Thank you very much for coming out. Mine is really short and sweet. I have the honor of introducing our very first speaker for today, our Democratic candidate for State Senate for District 7, endorsed by Planned Parenthood, a longtime reproductive rights champion. Please welcome Kim Kaiserman.
My name is Kim Kaiserman, and I'm running for State Senate! First, I want to say...
Vote for Kim! Vote for Kim! Vote for Kim!
Well, first, I want to say thank you to Engage Long Island and the other grassroots groups for inviting me to speak here today. It is very appropriate that these groups are the ones who have organized this rally today, because they and all of you are at the forefront of the fight for democracy on Long Island. And make no mistake,
Reproductive rights is at the center of that fight. We're here today to mark 2 years since the disastrous Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe versus Wade and set our nation back 50 years when it comes to bodily autonomy. Since then, millions of Americans have lost basic, fundamental reproductive freedoms, and 1 of 3 women now live in a state with an outright ban. In New York, we tend to think it can't happen here. And one reason we think that is because so many of us here worked so hard in 2018 to elect leaders who would codify Roe. But anyone who thinks that they can't roll back abortion rights in New York needs to remember how close we came to having a Governor Lee Zeldin. Currently, the New York State Equal Rights Amendment, which would protect us from these extremist initiatives, is under attack from extremists who took the case to court to remove the ERA from the ballot. They did this not because they care about procedural issues. They did it because they know you and I and the rest of New York would vote to enshrine reproductive rights in the New York State Constitution. And that is the last thing they want. Thankfully, Attorney General Tish James came to the rescue. She has successfully fought to get the ERA back on the ballot, and it'll be there with us in November.
ERA now!
But we need to step back and ask, how did this happen? How did we get to a place where reproductive freedoms are on the line all over the country and here in New York? And there are many answers to that question, but I want to focus on one, and that is the so-called moderates. These are the so-called moderates who tell us with a wink and a nod that they are with us on this issue, all the while standing with and enabling the very people who will stop at nothing until they have taken reproductive rights from everyone. I bring this up because that is exactly what my race is about and what so many races in New York are about right now. The incumbent in my race is going to say that he's evolved on this issue.
Liar!
That after a career of opposing abortion rights, his daughters changed his mind and he now supports abortion rights. And let's face it, in New York, a lot of Republicans use lines like this because they want to avoid accountability for taking anti-abortion positions and standing with anti-abortion extremists.
Talk is cheap!
Get rid of D'Esposito.
When reproductive rights are on the line and under attack all across the country, we need leaders who will fight, not politicians who will try to skirt by, check boxes, and change the subject. We need leaders who will make New York a national leader in protecting women's rights. Leaders who will champion legislation expanding to reproductive services and medication. Leaders who will address pre- and postnatal needs of women. Leaders who will tackle maternal mortality. Leaders who will guarantee rights for patients and providers. And leaders who will ensure these rights are just as real for poor women as they are for rich women. I'm running because there's too much at stake to leave this up to politicians who give lip service while endorsing the very man who brags about overturning Roe versus Wade. And I know the amazing women you're about to hear from feel the same. That's what the fight for the New York State ERA is all about. That's what our campaigns are all about. Yes. And that's what our fight for democracy is all about. We're in this together. Let's get it done.
Vote for Kim! Vote for Kim! Vote for Kim!
Come out of
Vote for Kim!
Okay, so our next wonderful speaker, you probably recognize her if you've been to any sort of Planned Parenthood fundraiser, advocacy lobbying day in Albany, or any other reproductive rally. But Jennifer Ramo has worked for the Greater, I'm totally butchering that, Planned Parenthood of Greater New York Action Fund for over 25 years out of the Hempstead office. She's phenomenal, and we're so excited to have her here. Please welcome Jen.
Ladies, move in so you're not roasting. Move in a little so you're not roasting. There you go.
Thank you.
Much better.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I see you. I hear you. And I feel your energy. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for showing up. You're an incredible group of fierce activists. And I'm feeling fired up. Not just by the heat, by your energy. My name is Jennifer E. Ramo, and I've had the privilege of working at Planned Parenthood for many years. That means I've had the privilege of knocking on doors, marching, lobbying, advocating, rallying alongside many of you for many years. Working at a health center means I've also experienced harassment and horrendous lies being shouted at me from behind grotesque signs. For years, we have fought together against attacks on our reproductive freedom. As soon as the right to abortion was secured in Roe v. Wade, extremists have worked relentlessly to harass, intimidate, and chip away at access to this basic health care. And just 2 years ago, on June 24th, 2022, I'm not cheering for that, millions of women and trans and non-binary people lost their bodily autonomy. We are now living in a reality where 1 out of 3 people have no access to abortion care in their state. And that number goes up to 2 out of 3 people of color who are denied access to abortion care in the United States. Abortion bans are cruel, and they have a devastating impact on families. Providers are forced to withhold life-saving care for miscarriage and other complications. Patients are suffering and waiting in parking lots and ER bathrooms until some vague point when an anxious doctor surrounded by hospital administration and a legal team determine that maybe they are sick enough to provide care. The cruelty continues as we await the EMTALA decision. The Supreme Court is debating whether states can force doctors to let people die rather than provide life-saving care in an emergency room. Abortion opponents have failed over and over again in the court of public opinion. And so they have turned to the federal courts, which are stacked with hand-picked judges who are hostile to reproductive health. And now they are trying to criminalize abortion. They are trying to criminalize people seeking abortion. Last year, Brittany Watts, a young black woman from Ohio, miscarried at home after being denied care and ignored at a hospital. She was criminally charged for a miscarriage.
How is that allowed?
We deserve better.
We deserve better.
We deserve We deserve better! We deserve better!
We deserve to be trusted to make decisions about our lives, our bodies, our health, and our families. There is some hope. As much as the needs, the lives, and the choices of women have been dismissed, our anger has been underestimated.
Take back our power! Take back our power! Take back our power!
And we will do that this Roevember. We have an opportunity to turn over our ballot and vote on the Equal Rights Amendment, which will create new protections against discrimination by the government based on a person's ethnicity, disability, age, sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, and pregnancy outcomes. The ERA will prevent the state from prosecuting or criminalizing miscarriage, implementing a state abortion ban, stopping Medicaid funding for abortion, banning private insurance coverage of abortion, or adding unnecessary burdens on patients and families.
When women vote, we keep our rights.
When women vote, we keep our rights.
When women vote, we keep our rights.
Thank you for showing up for justice. Thank you for fighting for the rights of others. Thank you for standing against hate and brutality. Thank you for volunteering and knocking on doors and making your voice heard. You are making a difference, and we will prevail. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That was awesome. So our next speaker actually is not even old enough to vote yet. So she is counting on all of you to really get other people to show up for her and for her generation. So our next speaker came onto our radar. Her mom was in our group, and she messaged us 2 years ago when Roe was overturned, and she said her 13-year-old daughter was organizing her own rapid response rally in Syosset. We're so impressed by her. So we had to have her here today to rally our bunch because you guys can vote and you can get others to vote. So she's going to inspire you and you're going to inspire others. So please, someday, yes. Please welcome Katie Purdy.
Okay. Oh, it's working. Yay. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Purdy, and I'm just finishing freshman year at Syosset High School. 2 years ago, as you all know, the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was a milestone case in women's reproductive rights that deemed state abortion bans unconstitutional. Roe v. Wade protected and paved the way for better reproductive rights for everybody. When it was overturned, well, that obviously caused a multitude of problems. But kids in my generation, honestly, not everybody was sure what to expect. We weren't very well acquainted with our reproductive rights because we thought there was no reason for them to be questioned. A lot of us didn't learn about Roe v. Wade until it was overturned because it just made sense that we would have those rights. Like, why wouldn't we? Since then, I've educated myself a lot more on reproductive and abortion rights for women and APAP people, as have a lot of my peers. Some of you might think, you're just a teenager, why do you have to worry about this?
Oh no.
My answer, have you been to a health class recently? Point is, abstinence isn't an end-all solution, as is evident. Teens are getting pregnant. What are some of the ramifications of this? Well, adolescents who are pregnant face higher risks of eclampsia, puerperal endometritis, which is like inflammation of the uterus lining, and systemic infections. Oh, and death for the fetus and the teen carrying it. Pregnancies for teens are unsafe, full stop. I'm citing the World Health Organization, by the way. And after the health risks, there are scores of economic problems. Mothers, let alone teen mothers, have a harder time getting jobs because employers are less likely to hire someone with a child. Going to school and trying to provide for college while taking care of and paying for a child is nearly unthinkable in this economy. Student loans suck, as I'm sure many of you remember. Some people might say, oh, it takes two to tango, what about the boy? They're trying to go to school too. Do you want them to abandon hopes of college and just get a minimum wage job or two? It's not easy to get jobs, especially without higher education. Teenagers, regardless of gender, shouldn't have to worry about financing themselves, their education, and a child on top of all that. I haven't even touched on emotional impacts yet. Everybody always brings up rape and sexual assault when discussing abortions, and that's because it's a big component of it. I learned about not leaving drinks alone at parties in, middle school. I learned about what it means to get roofied and how to stay safe in possibly dangerous environments. Don't walk near buildings down a dark street. Never go to a second location. In high school, and especially in college, rape culture is disgustingly prevalent. These high school girls and college-age girls getting an abortion, you don't know what they've gone through. You don't know. It would be inhumane to force them to carry to term against their will. How many of you guys have kids? Wouldn't you guys prefer, by choice, wouldn't you guys prefer for your kids to live in a country where they don't have to worry about their lives' trajectories being turned upside down by an unwanted pregnancy? Right. Luckily for me, I live in New York. New York is one of the states that has protected abortion rights so far. But kids in these states with limited or no abortion rights are in such a precarious situation. The average student doesn't have the time or funds to just take a little road trip across state lines to have an abortion. What are they supposed to do? The teenagers and college kids of America are the ones who will feel the ramifications of the Dobbs decision the most, not the grandpas that decided it. It affects us, and we want a seat at the table. We want to be heard and listened to. And a lot of my generation are either voting or about to be able to vote. The Dobbs decision is still on the books, and we need a change. I shouldn't have to be speaking today. I shouldn't have to fight for the rights to my and my generation's bodies, but here we are. Constitutionalize, codify, and protect our reproductive rights for everybody. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so I know it's hot, so I have the privilege of introducing our last speaker for today. I will definitely speak louder. I will use my mild by choice voice. Okay. Laura Gillen, former Princeton Town Supervisor and Democratic candidate for Congress from New York 04. Endorsed by Evidence.
Oh no!
Just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. By Planned Parenthood and Reproductive Freedoms for All. Please join me. I'm sorry, I'm a little loud there. Join me by welcoming Laura Gillen as our final speaker for today.
Shot.
Thank you, everybody. I know it's hot, so I'm going to try to keep my remarks short. Thank you, Engage. Thank you, Planned Parenthood, for organizing this event today and inviting me to speak. Thank you to our fabulous candidates, Lisa and Kim, who are here with us. Kim has a primary, so if you live in her district, make sure you go out and vote. Look, who thought we would be here? 2 years ago, when these reproductive rights were stripped away from us, we were shocked. I remember when the decision was leaked, I called my daughter who's in college and I said, they're going to overturn Roe, and she could not believe it, and she went around her dorm and told all her classmates and her fellow students about it. It was almost unthinkable, but here we are. And we listened to Clarence Thomas. Listen to Clarence Thomas, because he forecasted where we are today and where the Republican Party wants to take us. It's not just about access to abortion. They're coming for contraception. They're coming for IVF. They're coming for LGBTQ rights. They're coming for all of this, and we should listen, and we need to fight back. My opponent, Anthony Diaz-Bazito. Horrible. He tries to pretend that he's a moderate. Not a moderate. Just like Kim's opponent. Oh, yes, we're moderate, right? The only reason they're moderate is because they've read some polls, and they know that the majority of Americans are not with them, but they will fall in line with their party bosses. Anthony Diaz-Bazito proudly endorsed Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who bragged about being responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade. Anthony Diaz-Bazito may claim to be a moderate, but now he has a record. He applauded.
You gotta speak really loud because of all this.
He applauded the Dobbs decision and said it's great to give it back to the states. I'm sorry, our reproductive freedom is not a state right, it's a human right. Then, when he was caught by a reporter unknown, he said he would support a national abortion ban.
Lip service.
Then, when he's given the opportunity to vote on reproductive freedom, he has voted with MAGA extremists 100% of the time. To restrict women in the military from having access to abortion health care. Women serving our country, he took their freedom away. He's voted to install pregnancy centers that give out false and misleading information to young ladies struggling at a very difficult time in their life. Anthony D'Esposito stands for fascism, not freedom. This November, we need to vote for freedom, and that means voting for Democrats, because we are the party and we are the people who are going to protect your reproductive freedom, the freedom to live how you choose, the freedom to love whom you choose, and the freedom to make your own medical decisions.
Vote for Dems! Vote for Dems!
But we need all of you to make sure our brothers and sisters in New York know that even if we pass the ERA, we are not safe, because a national abortion ban means New York. That will not protect you if Republicans take control of all branches of government and they pass a national abortion ban. We have to fight like our lives depend on it, because they do. They do. My seat, I am running to be the congresswoman for this district, right here where we're standing. This is the bluest seat in the entire country that went to a Republican. It was represented by a Democratic woman for 25 years, and gosh darn it, in January it's going to be represented by a Democratic woman. But I can't do it without all of you. When I leave here today, I'm not going to the beach. I'm going to go raise money, because it's going to be one of the most expensive elections in the entire country. And we can't win it without each and every one of you knocking on doors, writing postcards, calling your friends, and getting Democrats out to vote. If Democrats come out to vote, I'm in Congress. I'm going to win. So thank you so much. Please continue to engage with all of these groups. I thank our sisters and brothers from Suffolk County who came out here. We need you. We need this seat. The path to the majority in the House of Representatives runs straight through New York floor. If I don't win, we will not win the House. This is the bluest seat. So I need all of you to help me get there so I can codify a woman's right to choose. So with the Democratic majority, I can vote to enshrine your right to contraception and your right to IVF if that's what you want to use to start a family. There's a woman who has a great sign who says, I can't believe I'm still protesting this SHIT. I can't believe I have to vote on this SHIT, but I will vote and I will protect all of you and your freedom when I get to Congress next January. So thank you so much. Keep fighting, people.
Thank you. So hopefully everyone is feeling very inspired by these amazing speakers, and you do get extra credit for coming out today in this heat, but a rally is not a successful rally without a call to action at the end, so we have some big asks of you guys. So from this point on, you have 135 days to prevent a Trump presidency. We have 135 days to take back the House. Like, we have a timeline here to do everything you possibly can, and then we take a break knowing we gave this our all. So first and foremost, if you're not already part of a group, we have representatives from a lot of different groups here on Long Island. Find one and join one. Obviously, I recommend Engage LI. Speak to Hallie if you'd like to join Show Up Long Island. We have Bayshore-Babylon Women's Huddle, Long Island Network for Change, and the brand new Central Oyster Bay Democratic Club. Thank you all for being here. The next ask is, if you live in a district with a primary, and if you're not sure about that, look on Ballotpedia, look that up. It will tell you if you have a primary this Tuesday. Some of you do, some of you don't. Do not leave this property without going inside this building and voting. Number 3, speaking of primaries, if you loved Kim Kaiserman, and who doesn't, she needs to be elected. So if we can get her to November, she will beat the guy who has a failing grade from Planned Parenthood, but we need to get her over this Tuesday hump. If you can please stick around to canvass, we are right by her district. She represents Mineola, or she will represent Mineola. So her team is at that table. If you can take a list to go knock some doors, that would be amazing. That's probably our biggest ask, and we would really, really appreciate if you could help her, because she needs the help. Whoever shows up, it's like a dismal turnout so far, so it's like if we get the people out, we win for her. So it's doable.
Thank you.
Sure. Oh, Belmore Merrick Democratic Club is in the house as well. Sorry, my apologies.
You might protest the club.
Do you want to say the quick announcement? Thank you. Okay, so, and then if you don't have time to do a full canvas, we are also actually going out on Monday in Plainview for Kim, and there's also neighbor to neighbor. That's only 10 houses literally in your own neighborhood, but if you want to knock in Kim's district, we can give you an address in Kim's district, so then you're just committing to 10 doors. Everyone here can do 10 doors. It is such a reasonable ask. They won't even all be home, so you're not even committing to knocking the 10 people, but you can knock 10 doors. Please do this for us. To sign up for neighbor to neighbor, we created a tiny URL, so it's tinyurl.com/N2N for neighbor to neighbor, the number, N2NNY. So it's very easy. Just sign up. They'll send you 10 houses right away. And if you have a little more time now, you can go back out to the street to rally for a little bit longer, but don't stay out too long in this heat. And then just a quick announcement from Susan from the New York Civil Liberties Union.
Yes.
Hi everybody, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, real quick before everybody goes, the Nassau County Legislature is voting on a bill on Monday to ban transgender women and girl athletes from Nassau County facilities. We need everybody to come out on Monday at 11:30. We're having a rally at 1 o'clock. If you can't take the heat, come into the legislature to speak with us. We will have a large crowd. The address is 1550 Franklin Avenue. Please come on Monday. And also let me remind you, these are our sisters. The New York State Equal Rights Amendment will address all of this, and that's why you need to tell everybody, flip the ballot. Come on Monday, come fight for our sisters, because they're fighting for us, and we all need to stand together, and that's what the New York State Equal Rights Amendment does.